All right. I want to welcome my guest, Michelle, and welcome my listeners. And this is the Work-Life Brilliance podcast. And I am so excited because we have a special guest here who has an inspirational story to tell you. And I hope it gives people hope who feel stuck with stress, self-doubt, any not worthiness story, and any overwhelm at work, the usual stuff that plagues human beings. So I'm going to start this conversation with Michelle by just thanking you for being here.
Oh, thank you for having me.
So you and I met about 3 months ago,
Yeah.
and it seems like a lifetime ago. So why don't you just tell us why we met? Like what was it that was troubling you? What were you
Mm.
like back then?
Wow. Okay. Where to start? I came to you, Denise, filled with quite a lot of self-doubt, and I felt as if I was getting in the way of my own progress, my own success. I was self-sabotaging, really. And that would play out in a few different ways. My perfectionism was rife. Um, it would stop me from starting things because I was, too worried that, oh my word, what happens if it's not going to be perfect? Um,
Can
I
you
was
give me
just
an
getting,
example? I'm sorry to interrupt, but I'm gonna do it.
yeah.
I will. Give me an example of things that you would try to perfect.
Oh, wow. Okay. So if I was thinking of a new strategy, where to start with that, who to bring along with me, or if I was thinking about bringing about new change, how would I start that? And I just wanted it to be perfect at every stage. And it would just block me from getting started, which was a real issue because I needed things to move along. Mm.
Yeah. And those are big things. I'm just curious, did you also try and perfect little things?
Oh, I
Like
perfected everything. I perfected everything to the point that I would be thinking of every scenario before I'd even start. So what do they call that? Analysis paralysis.
Yes.
That was that was my friend. And I just knew I needed to find a way to get rid of that and get rid of what I was telling myself. So I suppose I needed a lot of help by the time I needed you because I had actually perfected these bad habits for quite a few decades.
Wow. Okay. I don't want to put you on the spot, but I'm just wondering, do you want to share any of the bad habits?
Um, I think that I have a tendency, well, yes, so I have a tendency of just jumping into the deep end with quite a few things, and I've enjoyed quite a bit of success with my career to date. But some of the things that I had formed bad habits that weren't serving me well anymore was working exceptionally long hours, leading me to burnout, not being my best when I was, in family life. Uh, Not knowing when to stop refining something, that the idea that something is just good enough is okay. It doesn't need to be perfect because the other person I'm delivering the product to or the strategy to is not looking for everything to be perfect in their mind. It just needs to get the job done.
If you had to guess, how many hours do you think you overspent, like overworked
Oh,
because of perfectionism and
overworked?
worrying and yeah.
Okay. Well, there was a point in time I was working 7 days a week and averaging 16-hour days.
Oh my goodness.
So I was literally at a point in my life just working. That was it. Nothing else. No room for anything else.
I
And
can't
I did not ask for help either. I couldn't bring myself to that.
I can't even imagine that you, because the you I know now is so light and has so much ease. But I want you to tell us, like, what do you feel now and then we'll talk about how you did it. But what is it like now?
Oh my word. It's a complete 180. I'm just happy. I know I can see you almost laughing at that. I was so miserable. Um, I just, I just feel innately happy. I wake up ready and excited to start my day rather than dreading it and getting all those anxious knots in my stomach. Um, I just feel calm. That's the overriding two feelings I have, happy and calm.
Wow. And what's happened to your work hours, your work life, and your personal time?
Oh, well, I've got those barriers going. So I'm a 9 to 5 person now, but the amount of work that I can get done in that amount of time has dramatically increased. Um, yes, and it just means that I get to go home and I get to be more present for my daughter who is young, and we get, there's enough energy, enough in the tank to play and just be with her, help out around the house, and just be a better partner.
Hmm.
It's good.
Ah, I know you think I'm laughing, and I guess I do when you say you're happy. Um, it's like a happy in me that comes out when I
Mm.
when I see you're happy. I thought you'd appreciate this. So I have this calendar. I have an old school calendar because I like to circle dates when people have milestones. And this is the month. Look what this says. Work is love made visible.
Yeah.
And that is how I feel. Like when you say, I'm just happy. And when you have these breakthroughs, and when everybody who works with me has these breakthroughs, I just feel like such a deep love that it has to come out in a giggle. So it's such I'm just so blessed that I find people like you who are ready and who are willing. And on a scale of 1 to 10, I don't even know how to ask this. So first, just tell me, when you first started with me, of course, you didn't really know me, and you didn't really know what this was going to be. I mean, I
Mm.
told you the ins and outs, 12 weeks, we go through a process,
Yeah.
but you didn't really know what it
No.
was. So on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being you had absolute confidence that you would be where you were right now, feeling what you were right now, where were you on the spectrum?
Oh, wow. Okay. So when I first started, I was a little skeptical. So I think I would have started at a good, healthy 6.
Well,
And as I progressed, I knew I was going to get there really. I just knew just by looking at the modules, it just broke it down for me in a way that I could understand. And it was easy enough to stick. You know, when you when you read articles and you think, oh, yes, I'm going to make this change and implement this in my life, and it doesn't really stick.
mhm.
So I think I went from a 6 to a 10 pretty quickly because I could break it down and I could use it on a daily base. And once I mastered a few little a few little fundamental skills, I started feeling peace quite quickly. And then we worked on the rest. Yeah. And now I
Mhm.
would say that my default position when it comes on a scale of 1 to 10 of happiness, my default is really about a 10. And then life might get a bit challenging throughout the day, but I can get myself back up closer to a 10 if something challenging comes along quicker than what I did before.
Okay. So that explains why you made some very big transformations early. I think you could
Mm,
see this is working, this is going to work, and then you allowed it to work.
yeah.
And you could see that it was going to work because I wasn't just sticking strategies onto your old self. I helped you create a new self very early
Mhm.
on, and then quickly give you the strategies to prove to yourself, oh, I can do this. This works.
Yeah,
This works.
completely.
This works. So you didn't have to
Completely.
fake anything.
Nope.
You just showed up has anybody noticed, has anybody called out that you're different? That because you are different at work. You're happy, so you're in a completely different energy field, and
Yeah.
you're emitting happiness and
Yeah.
patience and empathy and curiosity, which is
Yeah.
so rare in the workplace. And I just got to think that somebody's picking up on your energy.
I think that quite a few are picking up on my energy. My bad days are much rarer now than, being that as a constant default. Um, and the ability just to adapt to change in a positive light has definitely been noticed. Yes.
And what do you think is going to be made possible in your life and in other people's lives that wasn't possible when you were in your state of analysis paralysis, anxiety, worry, all the stuff
Oh,
that comes
wow.
from self-doubt and perfectionism and overwhelm?
Yeah. Um, I'm able to get on with the more exciting aspects of my work and move and grow into more challenging areas that I want my career to go into. So it's freed me up all that stress worrying about, oh, how's this report going to be taken, or, that type of thing. It's like, no, no, no. Look, I'm going to plan to do it. I'll worry about it then, but I'm not going to spend all this time stressing about it until the point that I have to do it. So, yeah,
Yeah.
how do I
No, that's
explain
big.
that?
That's big.
Yeah.
Also, you are going to become more influential. So you're going to be able to
Mm.
create in the greater good. And you do a lot of in the world that's for the greater good. But
Yeah.
because even just you giving, well, you having, making an influential request or setting up an influential meeting, but you described a presentation you had to give, which we call conversations to groups. We don't call them
Oh, yes.
presentations. They're conversations with groups. But you described how that was fun and easy for you when before you would have been in your perfectionist mode
Oh,
and
yes.
not have been nearly as influential.
Oh, completely. Yes, I used a few of those techniques that we spoke about, and I forgot about I just shifted my emphasis. It's not about me. I know the content. It's about having a conversation with the people I'm talking to. And by shifting my frame of mind and composing my body so I was feeling good, um, I got comments at the end of that presentation because I had to follow a really hard act. I had to follow someone who was a really good storyteller and delivered a really powerful presentation. I thought, whew, how am I going to follow this? And the presentation ended with people saying, wow, you're a really good presenter. And I've never had that. I've always been the type of person, I can do it if I have to, but I'm going to go, with my knuckles, white knuckles, and my everything clenched. And so, and I've never had that kind of response before. So people were enthused, people were involved in the program that I was discussing, and excited about what we were going to do with it. I was just so blown away, especially by that comment. You're a great presenter. I've never heard it. Anyway.
Wow. So just because you got rid of the fear and you
Mm,
changed your attitude about it, you showed up as the real you.
I did.
You showed up as the real you, which is now the happy,
Mm,
calm you.
yeah.
And let's add influential to it because you're magnetic. Now, this energy that you have, that people can just sense that you're so sincere. When we have to fake good because we're hiding so much self-doubt and stress, people can sniff it. There's something off. They don't know what
Mm,
it is. They can't name it. So they just come up with something, and they might say, oh, well, she's standoffish, or
Yeah.
she thinks she's so good, all these things that somebody might think of somebody who's very put together and beautiful like yourself. And meanwhile, you're just trying to hide that you're in deep fear mode.
That's right. I was like a duck underwater, calm on the top, going like this underneath, 1,000 miles an hour. That's what the heart was doing. I think the fundamental shift has has also helped me be more approachable. And not that I would consider myself confrontational, but as everyone does in their work life, people have difference of opinions in teams. And rather than trying to hammer forward a particular thing that I wanted to see happen, try to understand someone and really unpack that from where they're sitting and how they're feeling has really allowed me to up my empathy and an understanding of others, where before I think I was coming up against a bit of a brick wall. I was being quite challenged by that, not knowing how to reach someone. Mm.
Yeah. So you flipped it around. You used radical curiosity
Mm.
to make yourself psychologically safe, because
Yeah.
everybody's walking around with fear. Everybody. And when you flip the script like that and say, no, I want to know what their concerns are, I want to know
Yeah.
what's going on for them. Again, you become not only powerful because you become influential, but you build relationships and you build trust. And nothing happens without that.
That's right. It's massive,
I
massive.
will never forget something you told me. So when you got to, so we have 7 modules in the program, right?
Mm-hmm.
When you got to modules 4 and 5, I said, so how are you doing on the modules on overwhelm? And you said, well, they're very good, but I got it all sorted. Like, I'm doing a terrible Michelle accent, but I got it sorted because you were so overwhelmed to begin with. And you had so many normal but bad practices that were causing you to work longer than you needed to.
Mm.
And just by doing the first modules and learning how to manage your brain and use the steer model and create a new identity for yourself, all of the self-sabotaging behaviors just went away.
Yeah. It was a game changer for me. So all of your little cheat sheets I have literally pinned up in front of me at work. And I realized that I spent so much time, that internal narrative. And that was going on overdrive for me. And that was distracting me. And how should I put this? I was spending too much energy focusing on things I didn't really need to focus on. Um, so by having those little cheat sheets and just quietening my brain and giving myself a new narrative, I was just able to get more done and be happy about it. It was really quite it was quite a game-changing moment for me, really. I thought, no, I'm not going to worry about that. I have no influence over that. So I'm not going to worry about that. I can't waste time on it. And my day just literally opened up.
You have now saved yourself so much time because you're not busy time traveling,
Correct.
worrying about, things I shouldn't have said, things she said, things that might happen in the future.
That's
What if I
right.
screw this up? Just like present.
That's right. And my brain, I noticed my brain, I was constantly in the future state. What if? What happens? And by just realizing exactly what you said, that I can't control what this person thinks, nor is it my business, you know, it just pulled me down, just allowed me to be more present. And with presence, I just felt more calm. And if something does, because as life does, it just throws you a curveball every now and then. At work, priorities change, things you got to pivot. no, I shouldn't use that word after the pandemic. I feel like we've pivoted around into a circle, but I'm just able to be more agile and do it with not so much mental clutter.
So I am so happy for you. And I also want to underscore what you just said about the cheat sheets, because you're not trying to remember everything. You have it in you, like you have the ability to go into peace, to go into calm, to come to the present moment. But then why make it hard?
Yeah.
Once you get in that place, just access what you need. Oh yeah,
Yeah.
that's what I need to do. So I love that. We're always going to need tools because we're always going to get thrown off center. But once the foundation is there,
Yeah.
then you don't need much.
No. Even to the point now, well, I just might have a few little words, dotted around my pin board in my office. And if I'm feeling a certain way, I can just look at it and it will just bring me down. It's like I can give certain things to myself. I don't need validation or to seek in others. And also just recognizing the type of emotions that I'm in charge of and not to expect that from someone else. The little EDs, avoiding those situations, knowing that I'm more in control. How do I say this? I'm more in charge of my emotions and not letting my emotions run my day, which is lovely.
It's huge. And just to clarify for people who may not know the significance of the ED, is that most people, when I ask them what do they want to feel, they will say something like appreciated, loved, and then there are words that don't end with ED but are like seen, heard. What was one of your favorites? Do you want to say which was the one you wanted to hear the most?
Oh, I had two favorite ones, loved and appreciated.
I think those are the big ones. Those are the ones that are pretty common. And now you're a walking beam of love. You just are love. So why would you even need like somebody to show it? You just know. Oh, I know you love me. Like it's okay. I'm good. I have love. It's good.
Yeah. 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 It's totally been a game changer.
And when you are filled with love like you, people are more inclined to show love.
Oh,
Right?
completely. Completely. And what's also really funny is that when I come from that position, I naturally am more understanding, curious, and empathetic, but I'm also more courageous. So even though some things are scary, because we all have challenges in life, yeah, I'm not paralyzed by it anymore. I can act irrespective of it. I think someone said the other day in one of our coaching calls, getting better at doing hard things, So I'm just getting better at doing hard things.
Yeah. And then the hard things don't feel as hard.
That's right.
You mentioned the coaching calls. I'm just curious. A lot of people have never experienced this hybrid approach of one-on-one coaching, online modules, and group coaching.
Mm.
What was I'm just wondering, how did that work for you? What was the benefit of being on calls with other amazing women who look, like yourself, they look like they got it together, but then they can come and share in a safe environment?
Mm.
What was that like for you? What was the benefit?
Oh, wow. There are a few benefits with that. First of all, I realized I'm not the only one who suffers from all sorts of things. But so there was comfort in finding that, my group, that there are others out there. And what I found really quite interesting, because I would have the theory and I'd have the exercises through the module. So I would have done the exercises and the reading. But I found that having a group coaching session and me being able to sit back and observe and listen was able to cement the theory in it a little bit more with me. I sometimes can suffer from, once you're in a situation, it's harder to navigate. And I don't know what's happening with my brain there, but having it being illustrated for me with someone else working through a similar issue, really thought, oh, okay, so that's what that looks like, and that's what that feels like. And it just helped illustrate that for me a bit better, cemented it for me.
Right. So yeah, your brain is more relaxed because it's not protecting your identity.
Yeah.
And you can suspend your normal reality and hear it.
Yeah.
Oh, that sounds familiar.
That's right. That's right. And, we all learn in different ways. And I'm a visual and an auditory learner. So that kind of mode really worked for me.
I'm glad. So what advice, if any, do you have for women listening who feel stuck, who feel overwhelmed, who feel self-doubt, who feel like they're not enough, who feel like they have to fake it, have to overprove, and even though they're overworking, they're still watching people pass them by? What advice would you give them?
Oh, my word. Don't think any more about it. Get on board the program. Look, I couldn't be a bigger champion of the program, but I just wanted to let people know that it works. It's in bite-sized chunks. And for me to go from a daily anxious state filled with worry and fear and not wanting to put my hand up to further myself in my career or my personal life, to go from that to happy, where I've read self-help books, I've done other courses, is huge. I honestly want to let people know that you can get to a happier state. It's possible, and this method works.
And I just don't want people to waste time, because I don't know how much time we all have. I've had 2 near-death experiences in the last 4 years. And I feel like, oh my gosh, I just feel so much love when somebody has the courage to do what you did. And that is just say enough is enough. I've read enough books. I've done enough things. We have our new person in the group who we calculated had done 14,000 hours of self-help. If she took how many hours for how many years she's been doing it. She's gone to 2 Tony Robbins events, and Tony's brilliant. I love Tony, but he's not going to personally coach anybody except, the millionaires. So just stop it. Just stop wasting your potential and your time. And then if you do join this, they got to do like you. They got to just, even if they're at a 5 or a 6 in terms of certainty that this might work, they got to just take the courage and step in and see what it's about. And then just do the things. They're not hard things.
They're not hard things, but wow, they're powerful. They're powerful. I just couldn't be happier. Honestly, it's been an absolute game changer with my family life and my work life, and even past pain. It's got me to a place where I can forgive and let go. And that is lovely, knowing that I don't have to carry all this pain that you accumulate as you get older through life, because we all make mistakes, but it's nice just to let some of that go and feel lighter. And look back now going forward, not so much regret.
Yeah. You literally are rewriting your past. That's module 2. You're rewriting your past and internalizing it. So then you're also going to rewrite your future.
Yeah.
Because you have a completely different future ahead of you now.
Yeah.
Like when we think of how your daughter would have been different as a result of having the mom who's stressed out and anxious, and how your marriage would be different if you were that partner.
Yeah.
And I just get grief just thinking about it. Like, I am just so grateful that you're the real you now.
Yeah. And I also get to pass down the tips to my daughter, who will
Yes, you do.
now be more aware as she's growing up and facing her challenges through life.
And that brings me so much joy. I have a 15-year-old and people say, oh, I'm sorry, you have a teenager. I'm just like, you have no idea. I have, and she just took the Enneagram. She's your type.
Oh,
I'm not going
yay,
to say
go
what it is.
force.
I'm not going to
Oh,
say what,
okay.
oh, you can say it. It's all
I
right.
just did,
It's
sorry.
all right. Well, we're going to have her take mine because we know mine is highly validated, but I could totally see that that's her type. And, as if, and it makes sense because she feels a lot. Whereas other types, we numb, and your type is like, oh, so sensory aware. And
Yes.
but my daughter is now, I mean, she's like yourself in that she feels joy and peace and authenticity all the time.
Yeah.
All the time. And the other day she comes up to me as I'm working, she comes up to me, she puts her hands on my shoulder, she looks me in the eyes and she says, I am so grateful for you. Thank you. And then she
It's,
said, don't die.
yeah, live forever. That is so lovely. That's so lovely.
So that's going to be your experience now is
Yeah.
watching your daughter not have, she's going to have normal dramas, right? But she'll be able to handle them
Yeah,
and talk about them and process them
that's
and
right.
have
In
her
a
own cheat
healthier
sheet.
way. That's right. And do it in a healthier way rather than these kind of building up this bad habit of beating yourself up on a daily basis. And gosh knows how many times a day that might happen.
Right. Or the fear of not measuring up, which I can't even imagine. I wasn't around when Facebook, I mean, Facebook was not around in my teenage years. So the more we can protect our kids from this not good enough and comparison story, just the more the world's going to benefit and they're going to benefit. Okay. Well, thank you, love. I'm so happy for you. And we're together for life because it's a lifetime membership program. So I look forward to seeing you in the graduate group. And
Awesome.
yeah, I'm just so glad you're in my life. And thank you for taking the time to
Oh,
do this.
you're welcome. Thank you for having me. And thank you. Just a big thank you. Thank you so much. I could not say it enough.
I feel the same way.